G'day fixers, woodworking adjacent / handyman time, as I am on the floor of a kitchen in one of the units that I maintain, and I've got a tool that Carbatec sent out to me quite lovely that's very handy in this situation, but also handy for the general woodworker. Let's take a look. I keep saying multimeter, but it's not a multimeter, it's a moisture meter. This is the Carbatec. I'll put the model number on the screen. Moisture meter. It's a traditional pronged one, so it is slightly invasive. It will leave some small marks on your timber, but most of the things you're going to use it for, they shouldn't matter anyway. It is an incredibly simple device, but a very useful one. We'll look at some wood in a minute, but what I'm looking at is handyman work. Particularly when I have water get to places where water should not be. We've had tree branches through the roof, and most recently we have had that water meter there, the gas hot water, leak and do a wee bit of damage. That is sodden. There is absolutely no need in putting the meter on there because I can just tell when I squeeze it, water comes out. Yeah, it's going to be replaced. Where this guy comes in handy is when I'm going to be doing the repair. So under here, you can tell by the colour, that stuff there, that's good and dry. That stuff there, not so much. So we can see a nice colour gradient even, and I'm unsure if that's going to be salvageable or not. There's a bit of mould, we'll have to treat that, but we will be watching it over about the next week, let it dry out and see what the structural stability is before we install the new kicker. To give you a bit of an example, let's take this piece of moisture resistant chipboard. At least I hope it was moisture resistant. It was in a kitchen. And let's grab our meter. So let's take a look at this guy. Only a very few features to note. Firstly, it's warm in here. It's quite warm. For anyone in America watching that, hold down the on set button and oh, there you go. I can finally convert to Fahrenheit. 82 apparently. And it's still rising. I'm going to get to about 35 today. Here we have the two scales that we can see. The one on the left with the little tree is moisture in wood. The one on the right with the brick, not sure what the hell that is. Anyway, that's for hard material. So when I'm doing plasterboard and getting the moisture and things in there like concrete, then we use that scale, and they are in percentage of moisture content. The only other feature that it has is this. Hold down the little red button at the bottom and we get ourselves a torch. Could be handy because often you're going to be measuring things, that's actually not bad, in dark spaces. However, it's at the other end to the prongs, so, you know, take that as you will. All right, so let's see if we can get a bit of a gradient going over my sodden chipboard here. Start at the dry end and see what comes out on the reading. Prongs in, and we read along that side. So it is still, even at the dry end of things, 20% moisture, or thereabouts. Moving halfway along. Still not bad. And then down towards the end. And there we go, we've crept up to 25. That still looks white, but it definitely has about 5% more moisture in it. And then if we go to the back end, we'll probably see some more dramatic results because this is where the leak was. And that is off the charts. That is over 40%, 44% moisture. So it won't make any difference even when it gets dark down here. That's going to go. So the way I'm going to use it is to try and wait until the rest of it has dried out as much as possible and then test the structural stability thereof. So this is really handy because there are some obvious points in there which are water affected, but then there are some others which aren't so obvious, which we can now test. Such as that coming out at about 32%. It doesn't look like it's wet, but it is actually quite damp in there. So I'm going to record those numbers, come back in a week when it's all dried out, and hopefully it'll look a lot better. Right, back in the workshop, and I didn't at all have to pull out the manual to figure out what these things are on the head. They are the settings. Firstly, our B setting is blink, and the T is the test. So, turn this guy on, and when we hit the B, it should max it out, like that. And when we hit the T, it should be 19% plus or minus 1 bar. At the moment we are on 18. We are minus 1 bar, so that is still acceptable. The actual accuracy is quoted in this thing as being 2% or thereabouts. Fun time, let's check me. Currently, Fixit fingers is, the more you press it in, the more it hurts. And we get up to 30-something% moisture in my skin. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. On the back, we've got ourselves a belt clip and 4 AAA batteries. Don't think it's going to suck much juice, but I'll put rechargeables in there once we are done with it. Tiny little screw to hold that on that you'll need to access. But what this thing is going to be of most use to most woodworkers is to checking if your green timber is going to be good or not to use. So these are bed slats. These have been sitting here for ages. I take it back. These are parts of a pallet. And it might be interesting to see what readings we can get out of there. And currently, of course, we're going to be upside down. Hey, we can flip the camera. But then we can't control it. It's 30 degrees in the shop, and I am looking at 12%. Big difference there though. That one is 15, thereabouts. I've got a chunkier bed slat back here. That one's about 14, so we're fairly consistent. What else we got? We've got a Dainer made push stick. Yeah, she's kicking in about 12. And I have some recently purchased Tasmanian oak from the shop. And it's in at about 12 as well. So it seems in my workshop at least, there you go, barely any marks at all. 12% humidity is what most of my timber, within a few degrees, is coming out to be. So there we go, that is the very simple moisture meter from Carbatec. It was a freebie for me, I think they're about $100, checking up the website there of what they're going out for. It really depends on what you're going to be doing. If you're using old, recycled, reclaimed timber, you don't need one. Honestly, I've been in the shop for 5 years without one. I got one for the handyman work to do the moisture readings on places where water shouldn't be, so I can ascertain how much damage has been done. If you're working with green timber, however, or if you're a wood turner particularly, where you've got these things that change over time and you're monitoring it, you're drying your own wood, then a moisture meter is going to be super handy. No affiliates anymore for Carbatec, but do go over there and check one out if you need one. I believe you get free shipping on it too. This is James from Fixit Fingers with a very quick one. Over and out. Catch you next time.